Is a late 2009 iMac worth it in 2019? Well, today I'll be running you through a few features and just general running through applications, just editing softwares, browsing the website, all in one video just to help you guys out. So we'll start off with the design. Now, this computer has not aged much at all. It looks very much modern still, even compared to the brand new 5mm thin iMacs of today. It still looks rather nice because of the nice glass display on the front and the chin area underneath, which is completely different to the previous model, which had kind of a outer border with the aluminium, and it didn't look as modern. And yeah, the 21.5 inch 1920 by 1080 display looks just fine in 2019. Browsing on this computer can be troublesome at times. It's very responsive. Say if you're scrolling through YouTube and stuff, it's quite responsive, but when you get to video playback, sometimes when you're watching 60 frames per second footage, it'll just be a bit laggy at times, so you'll have to pause it, maybe even in some cases reload the website, but yeah, that's not really ideal at times. Editing on this computer is pretty much only possible in iMovie, and that's on 30 frames per second footage. Otherwise you'll be waiting about half an hour for an 18-minute video to export, which will not be nice. The App Store is still very supported because this computer is running macOS High Sierra. Speaking of this Mac, it has a 3.06 GHz Intel Core 2 Duo. I've upgraded the RAM, so it has 8GB of DDR3 RAM. It has the NVIDIA GeForce 9400 256MB of dedicated graphics, and it has 1TB of just regular hard drive storage, which isn't too slow on this computer actually. The only real issue when I picked this computer up were the temps. For some reason this computer is just weird, and it full throttled the fan after about half an hour of basic usage. So I downloaded this awesome thing called Ssd Fan Control, which allows you to limit the fan speed and allow it to come on at certain temperatures, which is very, very useful. Even in 2019, the speakers on this machine still sound absolutely awesome. Out the graphical performance of this computer, I'm going to launch up Minecraft, probably the most basic game you can play on a computer like this. So with the render distance set at 12 and the frame rate set at 50, we shall try to play. Now this is an old world that I created on a 2008 iMac with 512MB of dedicated RAM back in the day, but I've exported it to this computer, which is quite nice. And as you can see, I'm averaging around 18 to 20 frames per second. Not too brilliant. This computer actually fares quite well in 2019, as it does actually support Bluetooth, so I can use Bluetooth keyboard and mouse, which is very, very convenient. It has useful features such as Siri. It looks quite nice, and yeah. So on the back, we have a selection of ports. We have a headphone jack, we have some sort of random port I'm not too sure of, 4 USB, I believe they're 2 or 3, Firewire is that? Pretty sure it's Thunderbolt 2 and Ethernet. We also have a Kensington lock underneath the power area thing. I'm quite a fan of the aluminium back. It really does look very, very elegant compared to the previous model, which is completely plastic. Along the side we have a SD card reader. Mine is bent, not sure how that happened. And we also have a super drive. Now Apple's super drives are pretty good. So whilst I was recording this video, I left the computer on for about 20 minutes, and it didn't do the loud thing because it was using Ssd Fan Control. So let's just take a look at the temps. 35 degrees. That isn't too bad actually. So yeah, like I say, if you get SSD Fan Control, your PC, your computer, if you get one of these, it'll be just fine. So, the real question is, do I think one of these computers is worth it in 2019? Well, it depends on what you're really using it for. If you're using it for gaming, of course not. You shouldn't use any Mac for gaming, you should use a Windows computer because they're way better. But if it's just basic browser usage, occasional 30 FPS video editing, watching videos, yeah, this computer is absolutely fantastic for it. So yeah, that sums up my review of the late 2009 iMac in 2019.